Hey guys, welcome back to the letter. This is DJ Gamer Girl signing on. So, last episode, we had an encounter with the spirit in the garden. And at first, she was not a psychotic murderous spirit. But it got me wondering if she was in love with Lady Charlotte's fiance. She and Charlotte found out, accused her of being a witch, had her killed. If that's the case, I don't blame her for what she's doing, but she's breeding. She's. It's not going to fix anything. She is just going to forever be this way. But, if she was actually trying to cast a spell on on Charlotte's fiance with the intention of him getting with her, then yeah, I can understand Lady Charlotte, calling her out and all that. Sure as hell doesn't justify killing her. And it sure as hell doesn't justify what the spirit is doing. Yet again. Either way, it's a lose-lose situation for the spirit, as far as I'm concerned. Nothing will ever really justify what the spirit is doing. I didn't get any sleep. Not a wink. I was so busy jumping at every shadow and worrying about waking with a knife in my chest. Or not waking at all. Even when Hannah wakes in spite of a mild fever and goes downstairs for breakfast, I stay in bed, thoughts of poisoned food running in my head. The rain that started sometime during the night doesn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back down to normal and the crazy drama that's gone on lately will die down. I'd hate to be caught unawares in this rain. And with how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it's given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I'd hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days and... what? With how it looks outside, I'd hate to be caught unawares. You said the thing with the sunny day thing twice! It does let up within a quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloud burst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxburn's abysmal weather is back. Likely for good. I hope they did a damn good job in fixing this place, because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Hana, technically, paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Roof problems aside, she's going to be a definite downer about this as well. She hates the rain. And again, who actually does? What sane person would like it when 9 out of 10 days consist of nothing but dark, drab, and gray skies and piss water? Hit the mic. Pouring from the heavens. Piss water, that's an interesting way of seeing rain. She was just starting to enjoy the sunlight. I'll have to get up and about eventually, that's a given, but I'm not too keen on seeing or talking to Hana before she leaves for the hospital. Or, eventually, in a few days' time, this bloody house. Kylie won't like it if she comes here, only to find me in a bad mood. If you would dare rouse me from bed. being able to keep their jobs is incentive enough. I trust they realize that now is not a good time to force me into anything. Maybe I could just get an hour or two of sleep before Suarez drops his brat off the mansion steps. If only. But, as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
Yeah, I knew it was Johan.
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it?
So, jeez, Johan.
My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Although, as I am to admit it, he's right. Still, it's more frustrating when he doesn't give me time to concede his point.
I know you two aren't getting along.
Nosy bugger.
But you should at least see the madam off before we leave. Think of her as a business associate if you must. It would not do to part on bad terms.
It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
That's none of his business. None of it. If he remembers his place, he'll drop it. Yeah, sure. This is Johan we're talking about here. I don't want to talk to Hana. Not now, when I'm so high-strung and paranoid. This whole thing is a bloody mess with everything going off at once. I'm afraid that with our troubles, I'll misinterpret anything she might say or do. That just make the whole thing worse.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me and calm me down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house. And she is a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept, without fail, on people who come to work with me. Background checks and constant surveillance until they finish their contracts with the rights. Some would say it's a bit over the top. But I can't be too safe. Too many want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
It's of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It's all a matter of principle. Because even with the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be such a hassle having the police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Well, there goes any plans for grabbing this machete. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
Says the little girl who is shouting.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on!
I swear, Johan and Luke act like siblings sometimes. I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
That bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence, which I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie is a great kid. Wonderful, better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I am well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on, no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set for preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. That hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. How expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. Certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hand is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Speak of the devil and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She sweeps the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our play date today.
I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are frequent enough that they've found a way into my schedule. They're supposed to be visits to her godmother. But we can't pick who a child gets along with. As long as I'm not busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me if it makes Suarez focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hana and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hana, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arm in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close. Close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before that. To hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words, as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hana. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as it's only for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortillas de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
Ah, the Suarez's infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake.
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want her to turn the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books to crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble. Though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Cisa, is a creepy little bugger. Doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I will break it, find a way to get rid of it if it wasn't from Hana, and if only Kylie wasn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. My darling Hana loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interests along with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very, very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She'd never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who catered to her every whim and worried for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scraps and skin and knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie? As behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and arts, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to Papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana isn't quite up for those sorts of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turns the whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expected to see for a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She's once put a doll's tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
Oh, jeez, that look. As if she isn't creepy enough when the spirit is using her face to talk through her. She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet, the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Cisa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacred by dinosaurs. Something I probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles, because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of the feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She talks of Miss Pink, and I have to shift my legs to become comfortable once more. The memory of my initial meeting with her is still fresh on my mind. Yeah, quite the impression she made on you. The little brat is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park, and of her new friend who likes to play hide and seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. When she's not sniffing in the loo? Okay. What? When finally she finds something new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course. Calm before the storm. Because behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin, and a question on the tip of her tongue as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon that leaves me with the blue one, I have to mindedly start to draw a puppy to the best of my abilities. As I attempt to give the doodle dog another eye that It's as I attempt to give the doodle dog another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posed this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
And as kids go, there are follow-up questions.
And you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has Johans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty. Though I don't know if the bitter taste in my mouth is that or something else entirely. I really don't have time to process what the emotion is as the brat opens her mouth again.
You should have gone with her to the hospital. Hospitals are scary, you know.
Exactly why I didn't go. I don't like hospitals, Kylie. That's all there is to it.
So you're not angry at Tia?
Why would I be angry at her? It isn't her fault she got sick.
I heard you and Tia are fighting. I heard that you might not be together anymore.
I have to stop her there. Sure, it's easy for people to jump to conclusions and presume that we might be fighting, no thanks to Rochelle. But it's not common knowledge that things have actually gone sour, and to put it in her terms, that we might not be together anymore.
Oh, well, where did you hear this from?
I heard it from a nice maid lady. But that's still no excuse. Not when she's sick. She needs someone to hold her hand and bring her soup and make her drink medicine.
I'm livid. Livid that one of my employees might gossip, and to a child of all people. Who says such upsetting things to a child? But my anger dies out when Kylie starts to tear up. She holds it back in an effort to not seem so childish, I assume. Though I'm honestly confused as to why such news would upset her so.
Oh, no. Look, Kylie, there's no need to cry.
I'm not going to cry.
Are you sure? You've got no reason to cry. Even if Hannah and I won't be together anymore, you can still visit me and I can still visit you.
That's not the problem. Why don't you and Tia love each other anymore?
I still love her, Munchkin, and I'd like to think your Tia still does too.
Isn't that the truth? I love her. I'm just total shite at showing it. And a small part of me screams that I'm not worthy to be her husband in the first place, no matter how hard I deny it. Perhaps in another time, another place, another me, I would have confessed that the whole world is nothing compared to her.
So why are you two fighting? You grown-ups are so stupid sometimes.
I will agree to that one, Kylie. Why? Because I'm a prat, probably. Motioning for her to come closer, I wrap my arms around her and rub her back in an attempt to comfort the child. Only when I feel her tears soak into my jacket that I realize there might be something else to her worries. I've heard Suarez is not getting along too well with his wife as of late because of how busy he is with work. Really, I was wholly tempted to just brush her question off and say that it's a grown-up thing. I could content myself in pretending that this isn't happening. But it seems like she needs to hear this. That just makes it all the more painful to try and explain this, because I have to explain it not only for Kylie, but also for myself.
Sometimes, people fall out of love. Or they think they've fallen out of love and need time apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing. They might be angry at each other, or they might feel sad. They need time for themselves, to think about each other. To know if there is still love. Maybe they'll be back together again. Or maybe it's better for both of them to move on. Instead of staying together and hurting each other, pretending they still love each other.
There is nothing final, but here we are at a crossroads where the wrong step might end in a heartbreak. Hannah thinks we need some time apart, but we aren't done just yet.
But yes, grown-ups can be rather stupid.
You're still gonna be my friend, no matter what, Tio?
Of course, my life would be less exciting without a little brat like you running around and making a mess of it. And you better stay my friend, even when I get all old and wrinkly.
Kylie's shoulders start to shake in laughter as she pulls away, giving me a toothy grin.
You're already old! But don't worry. When you die, I'll burn you and put you in a jar so I can keep you forever! Just like they did with Abuelo!
My thoughts come to a grinding halt at her words, yet she goes on as if she hasn't just said such an odd thing. Why, it almost seems like the tyke is looking forward to my funeral. As if there's no confused expression on my face, she pulls me back to our drawings, commenting on the state of my weird dog.
I think your puppy would look better in magenta.
Magenta. Oy vey. Well, I'm gonna end the episode here. We'll continue in the next one. Till then, this is the Gamer Girl, signing off. Bye-bye.